What if I told you that right now tonight, while you sleep, your body is quietly setting a trap for your brain? Not because of what you eat, not because of some rare genetic condition, but because of what you do in the first 30 seconds after your alarm goes off tomorrow morning. There is one specific thing that most people do every single day without a second thought before their feet even touch the floor, and new research links it directly to a dramatically increased risk of stroke. 9 out of 10 people do it, and their doctors have almost never warned them about it. Here is what makes this so dangerous. Stroke doesn't announce itself. It doesn't give you a warning the night before. It strikes hardest in a very specific window. The early morning hours and the habits most of us have built around waking up are quietly making that window more dangerous every single day. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to walk you through a complete morning protocol, 9 specific habits built entirely on published medical research. The last habit on this list is the one that surprises people the most. It involves something so small, so ordinary, that most people dismiss it instantly. But data from a major study following thousands of adults for years shows it could reduce your stroke risk by up to 44%. I'm going to give you all of it, but first you need to understand what is actually happening inside your body the moment you begin to wake up. Because once you see this clearly, everything else makes sense. While you sleep, your body runs in a kind of low-power mode. Heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, your nervous system goes quiet, your blood vessels relax. It is the closest thing your cardiovascular system gets to genuine rest in a 24-hour period. But here is what almost no one knows. The moment your brain begins waking up, even before your eyes open, even before your alarm sounds, your body starts flooding your bloodstream with cortisol and adrenaline. These two stress hormones begin rising roughly 60 minutes before you are fully conscious, and by the time you reach over to silence that alarm, they are already surging through your system. Those two hormones do 3 things to your cardiovascular system almost simultaneously. Your heart rate jumps, your blood pressure spikes, and your blood vessels constrict, all of it in seconds. Now here is where it gets serious. On top of that hormonal surge, after 7 to 8 hours without a single drop of water, your blood is measurably thicker and more viscous than it was when you fell asleep. Clotting factors are at their highest activity levels during early morning hours. This is confirmed in multiple peer-reviewed studies, and your arteries especially, if you are over 45, are stiffer at this hour than at any other point in the day. So what you have in those first minutes of waking is a triple threat: a hormonal surge driving blood pressure up, thick blood that clots more easily, and stiff vessels less capable of adapting quickly. Research published in the American Heart Journal found that strokes are significantly more likely to occur between 6 and 10 in the morning than at any other time of day. That is not a coincidence, that is biology, and what you do or don't do in those first minutes is either protecting your brain or making it more vulnerable every single morning. Let me tell you about a man I will call Robert. 68 years old, former school principal, retired, careful, health conscious. His checkups were current. He walked regularly. He took his medications without fail. His last physical, everything looked fine. One Sunday morning, Robert did what he had done every morning for decades. Alarm went off. He sat up immediately, swung his legs off the side of the bed, stood up fast, and headed toward the bathroom. He never made it. His wife found him on the floor, a massive stroke. When the neurologist reviewed his case afterward, there was nothing obviously wrong, no red flags that would have screamed danger in a routine checkup. His risk factors were managed, his effort was genuine, but nobody had ever asked Robert about those 25 seconds. Nobody had ever explained to him what his body was going through. The moment his alarm sounded, nobody had told him that a habit as invisible as how fast he stood up in the morning could be quietly loading a gun pointed at his brain. That gap in information is exactly why this video exists. Because the habits I'm going to share with you now are not dramatic, They are not expensive. They do not require a gym membership or a prescription. They require 90 seconds and a little knowledge, and that knowledge could be the difference your brain has been waiting for. This is the one I want you to start tonight. Put a full glass of water on your nightstand before you go to sleep. Tomorrow morning, before you stand up, before you check your phone, before your coffee, drink it. The whole glass, room temperature. Here is why this matters so much. After hours of sleep, your blood is thicker, more viscous, and more prone to clotting. Drinking water before you stand begins thinning your blood, reduces clotting risk, and gives your cardiovascular system better fluid to work with before the demands of the day begin. Research published in the European Journal of Nutrition confirms adequate morning hydration is directly tied to cardiovascular health, helping regulate blood pressure and blood flow. 1 glass, lying down or sitting, before you stand, that single action begins dismantling 2 of the 3 threats in the morning danger window before you have even gotten out of bed. The moment your alarm goes off, do not move. Stay exactly where you are. Before anything else, take 3 slow, deep breaths, in through the nose, fully, out through the mouth, slowly and completely. This is not a wellness trend, this is physiology. Slow, deliberate breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the calming branch, and begins counteracting the cortisol surge before it peaks. Research on controlled morning breathing shows measurable reductions in early morning blood pressure spikes in adults over 45. 3 breaths, 15 seconds, do it before you reach for your phone, before you move a muscle. It costs nothing and it begins protecting your brain the instant your day starts. This is the morning mistake that most people have never heard about, and it may be the most important habit on this entire list. When you are lying flat, blood is distributed relatively evenly throughout your body. The instant you stand, gravity pulls a large volume of blood down toward your legs and abdomen. Your heart must respond quickly to maintain blood pressure to the brain. In younger people, that reflex is fast and precise. In adults over 45, that reflex slows. Blood pressure can drop 15, 20, sometimes 30 points in seconds after standing too quickly. Doctors call this orthostatic hypotension. Many people experience that grey, dizzy, foggy feeling when they first stand up in the morning and assume it is normal. It is not normal, it is a warning signal. Here is the correct sequence. After your 3 breaths and your glass of water, roll slowly to your side. Push yourself up gently. Sit on the edge of the bed with your feet hanging down. Rotate your ankles slowly 5 times in each direction. This activates the muscle pump in your calves, pushing pooled blood back up toward the heart and gradually restoring blood pressure. Sit for a full 30 seconds. Then rise slowly, pressing through your legs. Stand still for 10 full seconds before you take your first step. This sequence 3 breaths, water, sit before you stand is what I call the 90-second morning protocol. It costs nothing, it takes 90 seconds, and it directly addresses the 3 biggest cardiovascular threats of the early morning window. After hours lying still, your circulation is slower, your joints are stiff, and your blood vessels need gradual activation. Jumping straight into a rushed morning mentally or physically adds unnecessary stress on a system that is already under hormonal pressure. 2 to 10 minutes of gentle movement after you stand works like a warm-up for your cardiovascular system. Light stretches, a slow walk down the hallway, gentle neck and shoulder rotations. The American Heart Association is clear that regular physical activity, even light movement distributed throughout the day, measurably reduces stroke risk. Think of it like starting a car on a cold morning. You don't floor the accelerator the second you turn the key. You let the engine warm up first. Your body deserves the same respect. High blood pressure is the single most powerful risk factor for stroke in the world. This is not debated. Major studies published in The Lancet confirm it is the leading driver of both ischemic and hemorrhagic stroke, and the most dangerous thing about it, it almost never has symptoms. It attacks your arteries silently, year after year, wearing them down until one day a vessel ruptures or a clot breaks loose. Measuring your blood pressure at home takes 2 minutes. Invest in a validated digital arm cuff. Measure in the morning before coffee and medications. After sitting quietly for 5 minutes, arms supported at heart level. Do this 3 times a week. Write down the date, the numbers, and bring those records to your doctor if your readings are frequently above 130/80, that is a yellow flag. Above 140/90 is clinical hypertension. Call your doctor. Don't ignore it. This number is not just a statistic, it is a live report on what your blood vessels are experiencing every single day. The first meal of your day sets the metabolic tone for everything that follows. A breakfast built on sugar, white flour, and processed fats, sugary cereal, white bread, box juice, flavored yogurt triggers sharp glucose and insulin spikes, elevates inflammation, and puts pressure on your arteries early in the morning when they are already under hormonal stress. A smarter breakfast stabilizes blood sugar, nourishes your vessel walls, and reduces systemic inflammation. Prioritize fiber. Oats are exceptional, supported by research in the British Medical Journal linking whole grain consumption to significantly lower cardiovascular risk. Add quality protein, eggs, plain unsweetened yogurt, low-fat cheese. Add healthy fat, a handful of walnuts, half an avocado, a drizzle of olive oil. One practical warning: beware of fake whole grain bread. Read the label carefully. The very first ingredient must be whole wheat flour. If it says enriched wheat flour, it is not whole grain, it is white bread in disguise. Leave it on the shelf. Most people open their eyes and immediately pick up their phone. Before their brain has even fully registered that it is awake, it is already processing notifications, news, messages, problems. This habit of immediately feeding mental stimulation into a brain that is already riding a cortisol wave is not neutral. It extends and deepens. The morning stress response. Chronic stress floods your body with hormones that raise blood pressure, destabilize blood sugar, and drive chronic inflammation, 3 direct accelerants of stroke risk. Research published in JAMA Internal Medicine shows that mindfulness practice measurably improves cardiovascular health markers. Harvard Health Publishing has documented that even basic deep breathing techniques help lower blood pressure. 2 minutes before your phone. Sit in a quiet place, close your eyes, breathe slowly. That is all. It is not self-help theater. It is biology. A calmer nervous system means lower baseline blood pressure, better vessel health, and a brain that is genuinely protected. This one is not about exercise. It is about not sitting still for too long. Studies published in Circulation are explicit. Excessive sitting time, even in people who exercise regularly, increases the risk of cardiovascular disease and stroke. When you are still for long stretches, blood flow in your legs slows dramatically, metabolism drops, and the risk of clot formation increases. The same research shows that interrupting sitting time with short active breaks, even to 2-3 minutes of walking every hour, meaningfully improves vascular health. Here is the habit. First thing in the morning, before your day fills up, look at your schedule. If you will be sitting for long stretches at a desk, in a car, in front of a screen, set alarms now. 1 reminder per hour. When it sounds, stand up, walk to another room, get some water, climb a flight of stairs, 2 to 3 minutes. That is enough. Planning this in the morning dramatically increases the chance you will actually do it. I know, stay with me. This is the habit that surprises people most. And it is the one that the research on has been quietly building for years into something that is impossible to ignore. The problem starts in your gums. When gum tissue is inflamed, gum disease, which is extremely common, it becomes a chronic source of infection and inflammation for your entire body. Bacteria and inflammatory compounds from your mouth enter your bloodstream regularly. This silent, ongoing aggression accelerates the buildup of arterial plaque, stiffens blood vessels, and promotes the kind of clot formation that triggers stroke. A large study presented at the American Stroke Association's International Stroke Conference tracked thousands of adults over decades and found that people who flossed regularly had up to 22% lower risk of ischemic stroke, the most common type, and an extraordinary 44% lower risk of cardioembolic stroke, where a clot forms in the heart and travels to the brain. A meta-analysis published in the European Journal of Neurology confirmed that periodontal disease, gum disease, increases overall stroke risk by more than 60%. Your mouth is not separate from your cardiovascular system. It is connected to it in ways medicine is only beginning to fully map. 2 minutes. Morning or night, consistency matters more than timing. Pass the floss carefully between each tooth, curving gently under the gum line. If it bleeds at first, that is not a reason to stop. It is evidence that your gums need this care urgently. With regular use, the bleeding almost always stops within weeks as inflammation clears. A 2-minute habit, protecting your brain silently and effectively every single day. Let me bring all 9 of these together. Your body is most vulnerable to stroke between 6 and 10 in the morning. Cortisol and adrenaline surge before you are fully awake, driving blood pressure and heart rate up simultaneously. Your blood is at its thickest, your vessels are at their stiffest, and the habits most people have built around waking up, sitting up fast, skipping water, going straight to stress amplify every one of those risks before the day has even started. The 9 habits we covered today work because they directly address the biology of that danger window. Drinking water before you stand thins the blood and reduces clotting risk. 3 deep breaths counteract the cortisol surge. Sitting before standing prevents the blood pressure drop that stresses an already burdened heart. Gentle movement warms up the circulatory system. Monitoring blood pressure catches the silent killer before it causes damage. An anti-inflammatory breakfast protects your vessels from the inside. 2 minutes of morning calm lowers baseline inflammation. Planned movement breaks prevent the slow clotting risk of prolonged stillness, and daily flossing removes a chronic source of inflammation that feeds directly into your stroke risk. None of this is complicated. None of it is expensive. All of it is supported by published, peer-reviewed research. One thing I want you to do right now, before this video ends, put a glass of water on your nightstand tonight. Just that one thing, the rest will follow. And if this video gave you something valuable, something you didn't know this morning that you know now, share it. There is someone in your life who wakes up every single morning doing exactly what Robert did. You may not know who it is yet, but this information could find them before the morning that matters most. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. Every week I bring you research-grounded health information, the kind that closes the gap between what medicine knows and what most people are never told. Tell me in the comments, which of these 9 habits surprised you the most? And be honest, are you drinking water first thing in the morning before anything else? Write yes or no right now. I read every single comment. Take care of your brain. After everything it does for you, every thought, every memory, every moment of connection, it deserves 90 good seconds every morning. That is more than a fair trade.